Hello and welcome to Dad's Ad Job Podcast, the original footballing podcast for dads by dads. This is your host Adam Neverbarrow, and I'm joined by Rob Horton and Callum Horton. Boys, we didn't do last week. How are we getting on?
Yeah, good.
Well
How's
done,
everyone?
Good introduction there, Adam. You did a great job.
Thank you very much. I'm improving as it goes.
Your job's done for the week.
That's it. Well, yeah, it's the only job I've got this week, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, you could mention that if you like.
Yeah, well, that's why we were celebrating last week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we just went for a beer, offload a bit of pressure. We always said three Thursdays we will record a podcast, and the fourth one we'll go to the pub and just chill out. So apologies if we didn't get a podcast out, but we need a bit of man time, bit of mental health recuperation, and we feel 100% this week. So yeah, it's all well and good. So Rob, what are we talking about this week?
Well, we kind of nearly fell down a black hole the last time we went out. So we started talking about, well, initially we were talking about TV that you probably couldn't make today, right? And then we fell onto the pranking genre, or the dangerous genre of TV shows that we were watching when we were growing up in sort of like the late 90s, early noughties. So I thought that would be a good thing to chat about today, the TV that we were watching, and then the type of TV as a consequence our kids are watching.
Yeah.
Anyone want to start off with particular things?
Cal?
Oh, so I mean, we know the 90s was sort of all about, well, let's be honest, about how muscular you were, wasn't it? It was the generation of like being massive and what?
Do you remember Man No Man?
Yeah, this was. Yeah, I was just about to go on to them sort of. It was all about being how manly you are, how big you are. It was about being as boisterous as you could be. It was about being, man's man and man's banter and so, and how tough you was, how tough you was, how hard you was, how stupid you could be, what you could get away with, and I think one of the ultimately chaotic TV shows was obviously, let's keep it. I like to keep it British. I know Rob wants to talk about the American one, but Dirty Sanchez. I mean, let's just go right to the top, I suppose, of British TV. I mean, what a show! I mean, it's the stuff they did on there, and I mean, the American one, obviously, the Jackass one was a bit more professional in what they did, where Dirty Sanchez was just like, it was almost like their mate was filming it. It was almost like having a camera phone back in the day and filming it, and it was just like there was just blood, gore, and poo, basically. I remember seeing lots of sick blood and poo, basically, in that show.
Yeah, and it was always forced as well. It wasn't like, it wasn't like it was something that made them sick. It was like it was on point. It was like, be sick, and they were like, okay, I'll be sick.
Yeah.
And now I love Jackass though. It's just, I remember Friday nights on MTV, and it was about 11 o'clock. I think you'd watch Raw on Monday Night Raw on Sky Sports, but then you'd flick over onto MTV on Friday nights and also Sunday nights, which was strange. And then Jackass would always be on, like the very first series of Johnny Knoxville, like trying to jump a sewer in roller skates, or having a fight with a sumo wrestler, and then always end up breaking his leg or breaking his arm because he was so accident prone.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember my introduction to both TV shows, right? And I think it just shows, like Callum said, there was a little bit more of a level of professionalism perhaps to Jackass. The first time I ever watched Jackass, like you, I think I'd finished watching wrestling and I scrolled onto MTV, and it was Steve-O eating as many eggs as he could. Literally just as many eggs. And then he was just sick everywhere, right? That was hilarious. I was hooked. Right. The first time I watched Dirty Sanchez, I watched one of them staple their ball sack, and they lost the staple in the ball sack, and they couldn't get it out. And that was my first introduction to Dirty Sanchez, and weirdly, I was hooked on both. So they were kind of like the first. They were my first introductions, and I watched the Dirty Sanchez movies. I watched every single Jackass movie. Like, they have been things that have just made me laugh for the last, Jackass for the last 20 years. Dirty Sanchez had a good run for about 10 years, didn't it? I think like the movies are great. I always found the big hand funny when they gave, when like people would walk in with like a cake and then the big hand would like smack them in the face and they should just go down. I think Bam's one was the funniest one I ever saw. Like, he literally just
that was on the film, wasn't it?
Yeah, he just went down like a cartoon. Like, straight with his back,
Yeah,
they were just so funny.
Do you know what made him funny though? It's boy banter, isn't it? Like I suppose when you, I'm saying that Rob still does it now, but like, like when you used to like flick each other in the balls, or or wedgie, like it's just like boy banter, like pull like pants up or whatever. It's just, and the thing is, everything they do on Jackass and Dirty Sanchez, is something that you can relate to, in a sense, maybe not as extreme, but everyone knows how much it hurts to be hitting the balls, or have your have your nipple pinched or whatever. You know what I mean? It's that sort of, when you go, it's funny because you know the pain, like you can relate to the pain, and then it's like it's stupid, isn't it? Let's be honest, it's just dumb. It's like just dumb stuff, and you could just relate to it.
Yeah.
It's the kind of stuff you like doing when you were like a teenager, that you wanted to still, I suppose a part of you still wanted to be able to do. Like, who didn't want to like try and jump over something on a bike, or fly themselves out as far as they could into a lake on a rocket? Like, that's the stuff you dreamed about doing, and they did it. And that's what made it so cool. Like, I think that's what made Dirty Sanchez have so much more longevity. Whereas in Dirty Sanchez, it would be like, let's just do the dumbest stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And it was still great. I loved Dirty Sanchez, but it was like, let's just do the dumbest stuff. But with Jackass, I think there was an element. I mean, as time went on, the Dirty Grandpa stuff was very different. But the initial stuff, where it was like, let's build a rocket and stick you into as high up in the ground, or let's roll you down a big hill in a tire, that was stuff that you'd be like, I want to do that. And then you saw somebody else do it, and you could kind of live not vicariously, but you could live through them, couldn't you? And be like, that's amazing.
I think again, it's what we used to do as kids, but on an extreme level. Like, I remember like taking turns with our mates doing, I don't know, jumping off a wall or whatever, and if someone would stack it, you laugh at them, or like like smash it, kicking the ball in, like when you used to, like, if you lost that monkey rush or whatever, you'd have to stand and bend over and everyone boot the ball at you.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like stupid boy stuff,
like the
but on an
tunnel.
extreme level. Yeah, the kicking tunnel. Yeah, kicking tunnel bit. Yeah. Oh mate, I remember one time getting kicked so bad I couldn't get out of the kicking tunnel. It hurt my knee so bad I was staying in it, and I had to stop because I couldn't get out because I was in pain.
Oh mate,
that was a thing. It was always like, go on, mate, go on.
I was gonna say, it's like Monkey Rush. Like playing Nutmeg Rush. So it's like you'd all be playing, and then as soon as someone gets nutmeg, you'd have that stupid little giggle because you know they're going to get absolutely battered by everyone. But then, as soon as everyone's got their one or two punches in, it's like, oh, who's got it? Or the clever ones would be like chasing after the ball, trying to nutmeg someone else who was rushing someone, and then they get done as well. It's just like stupid boy stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was always. I say, I remember a group of kids I went to Eastbrook School in Dagenham. Proper rough.
It's got to be a disclaimer here by the sound of it.
And they done their own online series of Jackass called Lucas, and that kind of done the rounds and stuff like that. And it was like the first viral thing that I come across on the internet and stuff like that. But yeah, Lucas was always something. But yeah, Jackass though, just loved it. It was just that break away from TV that was just completely stupid and nonsense, and everyone loved it. But also, like, to go back into like the gaming side to it, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Jackass would always promote the skateboarding magazines and stuff like that. So you get a lot of skaters on there doing flips and tricks and a lot of failures on there and stuff. So yeah, that's Jackass. But talking about,
but really,
go on,
sorry,
go on.
Now because you've just touched on it. Let's be honest. That's probably the start or before its time when it comes to TikTok. I mean, how many times do you see people trying to do tricks on TikTok? Where really they actually probably stem from Jackass. Let's be honest. A lot of them, they go viral. One, obviously because they foul, but when they do hit, they're like, "Oh, mate, it's incredible." You know what I mean? Yeah. But let's be honest. I think Jackass and maybe Dirty Sanchez don't get the credit they do get in the sense of the actual impact they have on today's society. You talk about our kids. Yeah. TikTok is bigger than music videos. Is bigger than films. Is bigger than TV series that we used to watch, like Saved by the Bell. They wouldn't watch Saved by the Bell or Fresh Prince now. They're on TikTok watching TikTok people doing. Look at what's his name, thingy, the Jake Paul and all them. They all did stunts and before they went into the wrestling or boxing or KSI did stupid stuff before. He made it.
Those
yeah. Oh, sorry, YouTube then. I not TikTok, meant YouTubers or whatever.
It's the same thing. Like I was literally just thinking that as you said it, Cal. Can you imagine? Not that Jackass launched now, because I think it's off its time. But can you imagine if something like TikTok launched 30 years ago, and then you had the Jackass boys leading this kind of new sort of approach to the way that we consume media, right? Which is essentially what it was. Like we were consuming media in a very different way. The whole joke about there's music still on MTV, from the 1984 song, no, 1985 song, and MTV was there in the early days when people were consuming TV differently, and so let's not forget that MTV paved the way with the Jackass, Punk'd. Do you remember that TV show Made?
Yeah, Made. Yeah.
Made was an absolute banger, and MTV led the way with that. And that's what we were watching. We were watching like Kurt Angle go and help the kid that was getting bullied to become like an amateur wrestler and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Like we were watching all that stuff, and that type of stuff. If TikTok or YouTube was just YouTube maybe 5 or 6 years earlier, can you imagine the way that Dirty Sanchez that Jackass would have blown up? It blew up on its own without Twitter. Without Facebook, Jackass with all of that. Could you imagine if Jackass had all of that available to it? It'd be absolutely crazy. Yeah. It'd be absolutely everywhere.
So going from like Jackass and Dirty Sanchez being like the stunt / prank shows that we grew up on, it evolved. Like obviously, UK TV was brilliant back in those days. Like it hasn't got anything on it today, but I'm going to roll off a few shows here. Trigger Happy TV. Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the pranks on there, like again, Channel 4 with like the stalwarts in that, like in terms of proper testing the boundaries. Always remember Don Jolly dressing up as a snail, and then he'll go up to like a zebra crossing. The cars would stop, and then he'll go and lie on the floor and crawl across on his stomach, not really slowly. Just things like that would just crack me up.
It's easy. It's kind of like tongue-in-cheek slapstick. It's not like overtly sophisticated comedy. It's just stupid, and sometimes
it's dumb stuff. It's just dumb, stupid stuff.
Yeah. What about Balls of Steel? I mean, that was great. That program.
Oh man, the Balls of Steel one. That again, you could not. I remember watching one, and it was in a pub, and a lady was pretending to have a thing, and men would just, as soon as she got up to go to the toilet, men were like, it was like, is the man going to stay while she's in the toilet, or is he going to run off? And like, no,
she walks off with a limp in it and stuff like that.
Yeah, she walks off with like a disability. Like this is why you couldn't make it now. But like 18-year-old Rob was like, in hysterics. And watching now, I'd be a bit like, you know, like, but she'd get up and she'd walk off, and she'd pretend to have like, some sort of disability, and you could see the men be like,
drink
like leg off and stuff like that, and you're just like, oh my gosh. And then there was always the woman who was flirting with the men in front of their missus.
She got stick. She did. She got a lot of stick for doing that.
She got in so much trouble. And who was the devil? The guy in a devil suit.
I do recall that now.
He used to run around he ran around in a devil suit, just doing absolute, like, you know, like the equivalent of like annoying a golf player when he's about to strike a ball, like doing stuff like that, or like trying to order KFC in McDonald's and just like
dumb stuff. Yeah.
What about the gay bloke who would always like flirt with the other people, and then he would just talk normal and stuff like that, like talking to the postman, like collect his mail, talk, how's your day, how's your wife? And you go, fancy a bum? And go,
I do remember him.
And they go, what? And they go, do you fancy a bum? Like being proper serious, and like, no. And he goes, you sure? Like, you sure? He went, no, I don't. And I remember there was a window cleaner or something.
Window cleaner one was so good. I remember that.
He was standing there in the bedroom in his red pants, and he's going out to the window cleaner. He goes, do you fancy a bum? And the bloke's like, clean the window's like, no. And he just got down the ladder. But he did get called out on that, though, because he was on Jeremy Vine's show, wasn't he? No, not Jeremy Vine. The Right Stuff. The Right Stuff show on Channel 5, and he was in the audience, and they asked him a question. They went, hi, Matthew, how are you doing? He goes, yeah, I'm fine. What's your question? He goes, do you fancy a bum? And he went, what? He went, do you fancy a bum? You know, me and you around the corner, man on man action. And then they're like, and it's live TV, and he goes, oh, what a strange man. But Chris Moore, he done it to Chris Moores, and Chris Moore said, yeah, I do fancy a bum. And then they went off around the corner for a laugh. Like, things like that. But I always loved Nedge, the cowboy. The cowboy where he'd like, go around, he'd like do fake. He'd go to like a clothes shop, and he will fake steal something, and he'll do like a sprint from the shop and see how far he could run with the security guard chasing him.
No, I don't remember.
Or he'll do the drive-by. And he'll get another like fast food, like McDonald's, Happy
and throw food at people.
And,
I remember
and he'll
that.
stop off and he'll just throw it and lob it. And every time
he used to at
like,
bus stops used to do it. I do remember that one. I do remember that. Yeah.
I remember the human Skittles. That cracks me up. He goes into like a cafe and he goes, everyone on the floor, this is a stick up, everyone on the floor, and everyone's gone down, and they're like that. And he goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he walks out, and that was his game. I love Balls of Steel. You'd never get away with that stuff now. Never.
No, you can't do that. No.
Another program you could probably think of is Phone Jacker.
Oh yeah.
Phone Jacker was brilliant. Yeah, and Face Jacker obviously as well.
Hello. That's boring.
I mean, how they make a phone? How they making a program out of bloody prank calling people?
Yeah. Do you remember George?
George at the Guingo.
No,
there is a pigeon in your bank account. It does.
He used to say, "My name is George. I could look at the Bangwell." I remember it so clearly. It was so bad.
We've got internet service providings and a couple of dings.
But like, you said it's like Ali G or like them sort of things as well back in the day. Or
go back even further,
Kevin and Perry and like, you won't get away with Kevin and Perry now. Oh mate,
I reckon you'd be all right with Kevin and Perry. I reckon you'd be all right with Kevin and Perry.
Well, definitely Ali G, mate.
Maybe not the film.
Ali G.
I'm pretty sure that Pete Tong or whoever it is assaults those two girls in the back of the taxi. In the film.
Oh, in the film.
Kevin and Perry go large.
Oh, that's Eyeball Paul, isn't it?
Yeah, he definitely. Yeah. Oh, he's in the film where it all goes Pete Tong as well, didn't he? That's why.
That's it. That's where you're getting it. Yeah, because he's the deaf DJ, isn't he? I'm just trying to think of other prank shows now. I mean, like Ali G was like, that was always
Mate,
on the
I used to
TV show at 4
cringe
o'clock.
when he used to like take the mick out of it, or like he'd go up to like. I'm sure there's one where he goes up to like.
He got Trump.
Like, yeah,
he got Trump, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or like he goes up to like religious people and he'd be like saying stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, like what's he doing? They're like a different, like it's but like just like having a go at him about something else. Like it's not part of their religion, and I'm like, or having a go about them. I'm like, what are you doing, mate? Like, oh mate, you could get killed for things like that. Like you can't. People don't joke about things like that. I used to cringe so bad. I was like, oh, it's gonna go pig Tom. He's actually gonna get killed one day. Because like in America, especially in America, they just shoot him over there. They don't care.
Yeah.
I remember, he went to
on,
I got one. Ali G, or like one of his personas, went to like some redneck. Like,
you're talking about Bruno.
You're
talking about Bruno.
When he went to like, and they were doing UFC, and he was like they were like literally trying to kill him. Yeah, doing like UFC, and he was like,
a leather G-string on, didn't he?
Yeah, like, he's like trying to hump him, or like, oh yeah, and I'm like, no, they're trying to hurt you, mate. They're actually really trying to hurt you. I was like, oh no.
What was it? That was when Borat come out as well, wasn't it? And Borat come out and he started doing that Visits America. I always remember he'd do it over here first, and it goes like an animal rights protest, and he goes like, "Save the bears, save the bears," and he goes, "Why do you want to save the bears?" He goes, because they get abused in Russia and Middle Eastern countries and stuff. He goes, "Yeah, but we love bears, we love bears," and he goes like, "We kill bears, it's fine." And they're like, "Why would you kill bears?" And he goes, "For fun."
Yeah, I do remember that.
4 years ago, "You horrible bastard, get away from me!" And he's just like, "Oh," he clearly like just praising on it, like, "For fun." Wow, you horrible bastard.
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's funny, isn't it? Because we were at like that. So our little generation, Paul, that sort of like, I don't know, teens to sort of early 20s, we were actively like encouraged to like watch this stuff. It was like, this is great, new series of podcasts, blah 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 blah. And now you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm just rewatching I'm watching some reruns of Balls of Steel. And they're like, what's wrong with you? And it's just funny how the acceptability of stuff has changed. And I do think some of this we are looking back on romantically. Like Balls of Steel, we are definitely looking back on romantically, because some of that stuff was just not okay. Like Jackass and 30 Sanchez a little bit different. But like some of the Face Jacker stuff, even some of the Avid Merrion stuff. Go back and you'd watch that now, and it's weird that it was kind of like so celebrated, really, and it just kind of showed.
He's been ridiculed for it recently, hasn't he? Lee Francis, but it's off the time, isn't it? I mean, like I say, you've got to be careful. You've got to be so careful what you say now, because you'll offend so many people. But back then, it was like even Celebrity Juice, like that panel show, doesn't even exist anymore because there's too many people offended by it. And
I also think that there was less kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's like there's like less kind of like comprehension of how other people might feel as well. Mm. So it was always kind of like certain groups of people would be. So if you look at the Balls of Steel one and the girl in the bar and the disabled jokes, right? There was less kind of consideration of how people might actually feel because it was going for the cheap gag. And I do kind of see, and if you look at comedy now, even like stand-up comedy, and you could even use the Chris Rock, no, not Chris Rock, is it? Yeah, Chris Rock, Will Smith, alopecia gag at the Globes or the Oscars or whatever. Like, comedy is, for a lot of comedians, comedy has had to change, but then you've also got comedians who've been like hands down on it and been like, I'm not changing nothing. And look at like Dave Chappelle. So, I think it's, you buy the ticket for what you want to watch or engage with or whatever.
Enjoy, yeah.
So,
or not.
So here's a question for you. When our kids become teenagers, let's say when they were at secondary school and they're watching it, would you recommend watching this stuff to them now?
No, I wouldn't. However, I do have some examples of what Danny has been watching.
Yeah, go on. And I think that'd be interesting.
I do think it shows the difference in terms of what we were encouraged to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we were allowed to watch everything, and like I think that like now Like my mum and dad obviously did not understand the age thingy. Like they didn't understand that like 15 meant you had to be 15. I'm sure of it, or like 18. Like we were watching. I remember watching like 18s at like 12, and like I remember watching Seven at like
we shouldn't have been
year
allowed to watch
7,
that.
like in year 7, year 8, mate.
I
Like the
remember
murder
crying.
scenes in that. Yeah, like.
But I do think like, what was it? I was thinking of another one. Oh, I think You've Been Framed help as well, by the way. A special shout out to You've Been Framed. But in terms of what Danny has been watching, there is a kind of like a watered down version of all of these things. And I think there was probably true of the time as well. But Danny watched one of the kids from Stranger Things did a TV show called Prank Encounters. And like basically like they do a haunted house up, right? And there'd be like someone on their first day of the job, but everyone was an actor apart from this one person. And they like took this poor person to a house to like do the cleaning. And there was this whole kind of like story of a couple were breaking up or something or other, and the house was haunted. And it ends with like someone coming out from the crematorium underneath the house. And this person was like freaking out, right? But this person was probably like maybe 18. That was really funny. So that was called Prank Encounters, and it was one of the kids from the kid
Stranger Things.
The kid who sings Never Ending Story in Stranger Things. He did a TV show called Prank Encounters, and it's on Netflix, or it was on Netflix. And the other one that Danny likes watching is a couple on YouTube who keep trying to get each other by shooting a balloon above their heads. So like the wife will walk into like the living room, and then
the
husband will shoot the gun, and then the kid will come in and let off like a little cracker.
That confetti gun.
Yeah, and that's like their family thing that they do. I mean, I can't imagine what the cleanup must be like, but Danny finds it hilarious, and that's that. So I mean, this stuff was probably available at the time as well, but as a 13-year-old boy, you go for like the most extreme of what is available, don't you? So like, if you can watch Jackass and someone trying to eat 80 eggs and then throw up everywhere, your curiosity is going to get the better of you. Like, you need to watch it. You can't help it.
Yeah. I mean, other TV shows quickly. Rob mentioned it earlier, but like Man Oh Man. Like, how many times would you have them sitting around a swimming pool now and with their tops off, or they had to like try and seduce the lady or whatever woman?
That's Love Island.
No, there was the other one. You're forgetting about it. Single man, please introduce yourself.
Oh, that was Paddy, wasn't
it? Yeah. That was
What was that called? Elevator thing.
Oh God.
What was that called?
Oh God.
We had a friend who was in it. We had a friend who went on that.
Yeah.
Rob
Marty Skrull went on that, wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marty Skrull. Yeah. He's a wrestler. He's the villain.
Ah.
Yeah. What was that called?
No likey.
Yeah. Isla Fernando's.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't get away with that now, I don't think. Like, it would be like, oh, you know.
I reckon you would. If it was the other way around, I'm not sure if you would. I don't know if it was like a lineup of if it was like, I don't know if it was the other way around, it would get as much.
I don't think you'd have a load of women lined up around a swimming pool being pushed into the swimming pool.
Oh, Man
Oh Man.
Yeah. Man Oh Man was great. I used to love watching Man Oh Man.
I used to love that show. Why did that ever stop?
Well, because it was rubbish, mate. It was rubbish.
No, I like that.
But it was good.
And they had to do dancing and all sorts, remember?
Yeah,
they do all these little different things, mate.
And then they'd bring out that big muscly guy at the end and you just make his pecs. So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
excellent.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Well, that's how it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what our kids will be watching in 10 years' time, whether it's on YouTube or on normal TV. But yeah, that wraps up part 1 of Prank TV and the programs that we used to watch when we were teenagers. If you want to listen to our episode 2, where we talk about Graham Potter being a robot. We'll talk about Arsenal having how they're going to overcome a 1-0 defeat to PSG in the Champions League. Please go over to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe for episode 2, and we'll see you on the other side. Boys, always a pleasure, never a chore. See you at episode 2.
See you, mate.